Hi there. I wanted to say happy Halloween and introduce you to what is going to be a most unusual reading today. Today, the reading is going to focus on the exact moment when the gavel came down in Congress to solidify the process of impeachment and the rules under which impeachment will move forward. It came down at exactly 11:29 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Before I start that, and this chart is really quite fascinating, and I do want to mention that a chart at the moment of a new enterprise places a specific stamp of energy on how that entire process is going to unfold. So we'll take a good look at that. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about myself. I have a website called angelicmercy.com. In that website, I speak of the fact that I do what you call mediumship readings to connect with those on the other side that have passed, and I do a lot of work with that. The second thing is I'm a well-known astrologer for 17 years. I wrote a column for the famous magazine Venice. And the third thing is that I work as a healer and an intuitive. So I do a lot of teaching of Reiki. I give a lot of personal healings. I work with animal readings. I give animal healings. I help animals when they're going to cross over. And people. I've done a lot of hospice work. So I just wanted to share with you the many ways that I try in my own way to contribute to this world. And I also work as an artist and have two other websites which are listed below on this page. So let's start now with our chart for today. And the first thing I always look at with a chart is the ascendant, because the ascendant is the energy that is set in motion, not just for our country, but for the world at that moment. And the ascendant was Sagittarius rising, which is the exact same rising sign as the United States. It gives to me a sense of optimism to what was accomplished today. The ruler of the chart being Jupiter. Jupiter is a big, broad, expansive, sometimes overdone God of joy and benevolence and giving. Jupiter is kind of the gift in our chart. So the ruler of our chart is Jupiter, and that Jupiter would be sitting with the moon in Sagittarius today exactly 23 degrees. So you've got Jupiter exactly on the moon. Now, what does that mean for those of you that aren't astrologers? The moon represents the people. To have Jupiter conjunct the moon is a blessing. It's like the divine hand, after all our wearisome moments, is finally coming forward and saying, don't give up, keep hope, hold to your dreams, and stay optimistic. Now, the rest of the chart is not all peaches and cream, but that is a really nice beginning to what's going on today. The moon and Jupiter are sitting in the 12th house. So that means there's a lot of the divine aspect of being, the Pisces aspect of divine mercy, divine love, and divine frailty within man, and the Achilles heels of the people being exposed, the Achilles heels of the president being exposed. So there's a lot in this chart as I look at it today that is speaking about things that are hidden, things that are behind the scenes. Now, the main astrological shift that took place today is that Mercury went retrograde just a bare few hours before this actual impeachment document was solidified. Now, what does that mean? Mercury retrograde is not always a dreadful thing. Mercury being retrograde in Scorpio, a lot, again, that is hidden. A lot of the scorpionic upheaval and behind the scenes and hidden things are going to come forth in that trial in the Senate once this is voted on in Congress, the finalization. So be ready for tremendous new information to come to the surface. And it could be quite sordid. It could be about betrayal, Scorpio ruling that sign of betrayal. It could be about where the president has actually abandoned his own country in favor of the ego. It could be about money, because that rules other people's money. So it could be about that too. Could be some issues about money that rise to the surface. There will be a lot that's revealed. And that Mercury in Scorpio is sitting right on top of Venus in Scorpio. So our ideals, being in Scorpio with that Mercury there retrograde, we could feel that our deepest ideals of the Constitution were actually betrayed. Now, I think you're going to see a lot with Mercury having gone retrograde in Scorpio today, all over the world, hidden new facts emerging, be it in Russia, be it in Iran, Iraq, Syria, Israel, England. It's going to be a time of revelation of things that were tucked away and put away and hidden away purposefully. So we're going to learn a lot over the next month. The other thing is the sun is in Scorpio today at 7 degrees and Uranus is at 4.5 degrees. So there is an opposition between the sun in Scorpio, again, the hidden being revealed and brought to the surface. And this is all occurring in the 10th house of the country. So how the world sees us, a lot's going to be brought to the surface. And with Uranus opposing that sun, there's going to be a lot of cracking open of institutions. There might even be banking institutions or stock market situations that arise. There definitely will be a sense that what the ultimate decision in our country will relate to is, are we satisfied with how things have become absolutely different than they've ever been before? That will be the vote. The vote will be on whether we want to keep things as they are and honor the Constitution of our forefathers and the rules and the laws of the land, or will there be a renegade response that will be creating enormous upheaval? So I would expect that they're going to throw everything but the kitchen sink at the Democrats with that Uranus opposing the sun. The third thing that's pretty darn strong in this chart is that Mars is exactly conjunct the midheaven. So Mars is in Libra, the sign of justice. The midheaven is in Libra, the sign of justice. So this is huge, and it is going to be squaring the first house Saturn, and Pluto sitting right between Saturn and Pluto, that square. So it's bringing to the surface again. Look at all the Scorpio Pluto effects in this chart. Remember we spoke about that at the beginning of October, that when Pluto went direct, Pluto was going to be kind of like our ruler of exposing and bringing about resurrection, but also revolution in a way of, I'm just not taking this anymore. I can't stand it. I'm not putting up with it another minute. So with that, Mars square Pluto, again, a lot about institutions cracking open and the way things are done being challenged, the entire justice system being challenged. And you may even see BOUGH and his role as the representative of the justice system squaring Pluto and Saturn. You may see a lot of stuff that he's done behind the scenes come to the surface, float to the surface, and be really nasty. And you will definitely, I feel, see that he has not been working for the country, but solely for the president. Mars square Pluto also is a breaking down of the ego. So Pluto in Capricorn is a lot about, right now, the way our institutions have been set up for the wealthy, and this huge disparity going on between the wealthy and the poor in Mars right now, showing the injustice of that. And so that too is one of our choices right now. Are we going to keep a president that's throwing the manna from heaven to the wealthy and kicking aside the poor? That's going to be also something that we really think about, and that's really going to affect even his most hardcore followers. Something about that is going to come out. The other thing that's showing here is the North Node is in Cancer. Remember we talked before where we are going globally is related to our North Node. The North Node is sitting in the 7th house of the shadow, also the partnerships that we've made around the world. It's a partnership house. Being in Cancer, we are going to also be considering how we have been treating those that have been our friends, our partners, our compatriots in trying to maintain justice or truth around the world. Not that we've always been perfect. A lot of that's going to be exposed too with all this Pluto over the next year. It's going to be a lot exposed and brought to the surface worldwide. But right now we're going to really look at how we have nurtured others and how we've been living up to that. And the North Node right now is exactly conjunct the Sun of the United States. So we're going to be looking a lot how we are looking out for our fellow man. And I think a lot of people's compassion is starting to arise, and their angst. You know, if you think about the South Node sitting on Saturn, we're reaping a lot of our own karma right now. That means something to think about. So I wanted to, I'm not going through Donald Trump's whole chart today, but I did want to look at the fact that he's got all this Scorpio right now exactly moving through his 3rd house of communication, and his ascendant being Leo with Mars right on the ascendant. All of this Scorpio is literally bringing up a huge amount of anger and rage within him. And I just feel when I look at a lot of the Republicans right now, that a lot of them in the top positions of power do not look healthy. They don't look well. They look like close to, you know, having serious health issues arise. So I wanted to draw some cards over the next couple of weeks and just see what comes up. I'm going to ask, what is the main source of truth arising from today? What is the direction that the country has taken today? The card I got is the card of the High Priestess. It's the card of listening to our inner voice. I also see this as some sort of deep down knowing that we've all felt this is time. It is time for this. Because it's a woman, and a woman who has deep intuition, I take this as Nancy Pelosi to be the High Priestess right now. Her timing has been impeccable. She's been unruffled. She's made sure she's had everything lined up. In the midst, if you see, this woman is in the midst of the waves of the ocean, but her face is serene, and her knowing is profound, unshakable, and comes from within. And I know that she is a woman of deep intuition. One can just see by the way she doesn't listen to the rabble or the noises of the media pushing at her that she wasn't doing anything and criticizing her, and even her own party filled with angst and unrest, and she just kept going straight until she got the exact information and the exact ammunition to do something that would have a possibility of success. So I would take that as her really has brought everything to this point, that she's had her lieutenants out there doing their investigations and gathering the information, but that she has been the High Priestess. And I would take it also as the female intuition rising to the fore right now and meeting the dynamic, forceful energy of the ego and the female intuition. This is our time, women, and I'm not denigrating the men, but they're going to have to step aside and really watch a woman taking each person and educating them and leading them forward and bringing the information in the right timing. It's pretty profound what she has accomplished. So I'm going to take another card for what is going to go on with Donald Trump over the next week, having heard today's information. What will be his main reaction? I got the card of the King of Cups, and I got a card of the last puzzle piece being put into place. And it struck me that there's some knowing deep down inside him, no matter what he's saying. He also has great instincts. when and how to move forward. As much as we may feel irritated by him or angry with him or frustrated or exhausted, he's got tremendous instincts, but he's beginning to listen to those instincts and realize, especially in his last two outings, when he's seen not the huge response of positivity, but booing and people shouting back at him what he shouted at Hillary, lock him up. And so I don't revel in those times. I feel it's very important right now that we don't become smug or self-satisfied or in a state of one-upmanship. I feel it's very important right now that we stay clear, honorable, focused, supportive, and not gloating. It's just falling into the same pit and not bringing a positive energy. So we must stay focused on bringing positive energy to the people that we support as our delegates in Congress or in the Senate, and writing and keeping our eye on the ball, not becoming distracted, because there's going to be a lot of distraction thrown out there. That's my gut feel right now. I'm going to take this into next week and see how it's progressing. It's going to take about 4 weeks. They're going to try to postpone things. They're going to try to stall the Republicans. They're going to try to make it seem, oh, this isn't as bad as they're saying. This is all a bunch of nonsense. He's done nothing. All he did was a phone call. They're going to try to lighten this and trivialize it. That's going to be the main argument, is trivialization of something that's actually going against what they know to be wrong. And they're going to allow the trivialization of good people that have come forth with testimony. Somebody's going to come forth that's extremely powerful. Someone's going to come forth with testimony that's going to shock us in a good way. And it's going to be like a row of dominoes just going over like that and falling. It's going to be irrefutable testimony. And it's going to come right from source. Again, I keep feeling the left hand of divine now coming forth. It's like we look at Donald Trump and we always run him down and say he did everything wrong. But he was representing the deepest shadow of this country and bringing forth the hatred, the racism, and the lack of empathy and the desire for control that existed within this country, the lack of responsibility that we have shown in our materialism, in our desecration of Mother Earth, in our raping of the land. And so all of these things that were being exposed, it's like now we get it, we see it, we have to own it, and we have to make the changes. The next video I'm going to do strictly on his chart. I do feel it is a good day. I feel it's a day that things turned the corner. I feel it's a day of positivity. But there's going to be a lot of mud thrown now. So get ready, stay positive, keep your eyes on the ball. God bless you. And let's not paint the other as the bad guy. We're all united, we're all linked, we all have the same struggles, facing the same aspects of life that bring forth pain and suffering and joy and happiness. So let's stay united. Thank you. God bless you.